Lucretius de Rerum Natura, Episode 12. Qua re legio peribus subiecta vicissim, op terratur nos ex aequat victoria caelo, illudin his rebus verdeor ne forte reardres, impiete rationis inir relamenta viamque, in dugredi sceleris quod contra saepius illa, re legio peperit scelerosat quim pia facta. You can see that I have here marked the elisions in these lines. Therefore, religion, this is the subject, and it is feminine, singular, nominative, as an abstract third declension noun. Religion, worn down underfoot, subiecta pedibus, and subiecta is a participle, also in the feminine singular nominative, a perfect passive participle from the verb subicio. And it means to be placed or set under. Vicissim is an adverb, and it means in turn or mutually, something like that. It is notoriously difficult to translate. Therefore, religion, placed underfoot, obterratur, is worn away or trampled in turn, a bit at a time. Obterratur, you may know more familiarly by this spelling, obtero, and it means to wear down or trample. It is a synonym, you might say, of subiecta, and it is passive here and third singular indicative. So after that has happened, then victory, the victory of the Greek man Epicurus, makes us equal, or raises us to equality with the heaven. Nos, then, is masculine plural and accusative. It is the direct object of ex aequat, Victoria the subject in the nominative, and caelo is in the dative as an indirect object. Raises us to equality with heaven, we might say. The text of De Rerum Natura is quite corrupt, and in some readings, these lines appear quite a bit later than they do in the text that I'm using. I fear, he says, this, illud. Illud is the neuter, singular, and accusative object of vereor, which is a deponent verb of the second conjugation. Vereor and vereri is the infinitive. So I fear this thing, that in these concerns, while we're discussing these matters, i.e. what's come before, and then we get the object clause of vereor, or we might take ne through sceleris as the appositive of illud. Note that in Latin, a fear that something is going to happen is the verb of fearing plus ne, and a fear that something will not happen is the verb of fearing plus ut. So he says, I fear that perhaps you may think. Rearis is a second conjugation deponent verb, so the presence of the a here tells us that it is subjunctive, which is precisely what we would expect with this fear clause. I fear that perhaps you think that you, te, are beginning, are entering upon the impia elementa rationis. The object of inira is elementa, so that's neuter, plural, and accusative, and it is modified by impia, the same gender, number, and case, from the first and second declension adjective impious something irreligious. I fear that you believe you are entering upon, beginning, the impious elementa, first principles of reason, and, that's the que, you are embarking upon or inaugurating a path of crime or wickedness. In do gredi is the deponent verb in do gredior, a very rare verb indeed, and a synonym of in gredior. Perhaps we should consider an alternative spelling. As a deponent verb, it can and here does take an object, namely viam. But, on the contrary, quod contra, it is that religion, illa religio, which more often, this is the comparative adverb saepius from saepe, which more often has produced peperit. This is the perfect tense of the verb pario, to give birth to or produce, has more often produced wicked, scelerosa, and impia, irreligious deeds. Notice how he reverses the order of scelerosa and impia. First impia, and then sceleris, then scelerosa, and again impia. Epicurus and his follower Lucretius, in fact, believed in the gods, but did not believe that they cared for human affairs, and so it has long been a subject of debate whether they ought to be considered atheists or something different.